Claremont conversation. Brian also used Claremont conversation to develop a rating and ranking or recommendation system. Essentially, the way it works is, if you look at somebody else's work, you also have the opportunity to rate it. So on a scale of 1 to 5, is it good, is it excellent, and so forth. And then this algorithm actually tells you who's rating other students who are doing the same rating, whose ratings are similar to each other. So if Sat and I have similar ratings, the system will tell us, oh, you might want to talk to each other. You have similar ideas. You're similarly, focused on particular aspects of the learning process. And then the opposite effect is the system can detect what other kinds of entries might be of interest to you based on your, that other people are rating similar kinds of entries in the same way you rated entries. So this dissertation hasn't been completed yet, but the system has been applied. And that's essentially in the Claremont conversation. When you log on, you get recommendations about these particular e-portfolio entries. And then just quickly, we've got a dissertation that's being focused on how to help students more effectively manage their learning. And then one student, Kate, who's also a Thai student from Thailand, is designing some tools to help students do collaborative writing, to write documents together. And two of our other students are looking at anchored discussions, how you talk about material in the class by focusing in on specific kinds of specific points in the document. And they're looking at that in the sense of how do you design discussion boards that make anchored discussion possible. So we've had a few publications in journals. Some of the work that I've showed you, a lot of different conference papers have been accepted and published. And that's the end of my talk. So if you want to contact me about any of this, you're welcome. There's my email address. You can look at our lab webpage. Questions? Or so.
Let me start.
All right.
Question. It's pretty clear that the concept of social software is very beneficial to your educational setting. But how can you apply it to your business?
Good. That's a good question. Well, I think there are lots of opportunities to do that. For example, let's take the CISAT space. That was the first example I showed. In an educational setting, it tries to build a community within a particular group or a set of groups. You could do the same thing in an organization. And it's like that. Remember I talked about Beehive, the IBM system? So it would be similar to trying to use that same concept to get people who are working. We could even take Chula as an example, to get people in this faculty to know more about what each other is doing, to spread knowledge about the faculty. But we could also do that in a company or in a government organization. It's a very simple process, and the same principles apply. A sense of community is of value whether you're at school, at work, or maybe even in just a community organization that you belong to. So that's,
I think a key component of social software is you need to get people to share that idea in the first place. But in some culture, for example, in Thai culture, people don't want to share ideas because they might lose competitive advantage.
right.
how you get people to share that idea, because without sharing idea, everything you mention here, you useless.
That's right. That's right. Well, okay. In our research, all we can do is try and develop the artifacts, the plugins that would help add to existing social software. And it's up to social scientists or psychologists to figure out, or management people to figure out how to motivate people to do that kind of sharing. We're information systems people. We don't know how to motivate, or maybe we kind of know. That's not our specialty, is motivating people. What we can do is say, okay, here's software that we've shown has the opportunity to facilitate learning. If you can motivate people, then it will be useful. So that's a good point. There is a constraint there. And that's the constraint that we've found in a lot of the research that I was talking about. You've probably heard it. Me say it in different ways, that, you know, if the people aren't motivated, then these technologies just aren't going to work as well. So, and I think that's what management research is all, you know, is really all about, is how do you convince people that for the good of the organization, you need to do knowledge sharing beyond just the basic kinds of things that are required. And, yeah.
It's one barrier that is happening here. It's about accessibility. So a lot of things that you cannot access, especially people or rooms or something, except in the school or the university or whatever it is. That people don't know this. I don't have this kind of thing or something that come up with.
That's right. I guess in the short term, that's going to be a constraint for a lot of people, is if you don't have access, then any of this software is useless because it depends on the internet. But over time, and it's not going to take that much longer to have cheap, affordable, and fast internet access anywhere. It's happening very quickly. And so, you know, down the road, I mean, in that sense, we're trying to be in a position to allow people to do this kind of knowledge sharing when the technology is available to them. In the cities and, you know, in places like Bangkok and in the United States and most places in the United States, and Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, you know, I was just in Kuala Lumpur. I mean, in the cities, technology is easily available. And let's face it, it's going to be a mobile, it's going to be a handheld device. I mean, you're not going to see people playing around with their computers when they're doing knowledge sharing. You're going to be able to do it with a handheld device. You're already doing it. Most of you are doing it with your mobile phone or you know, internet personal computer or something like that. So, yeah, over time, we should be in a position to help people design more effective, or include more effective tools in their software offerings. Because again, if you think about the kinds of software that you use, if they're plugins, right? You have a device and you want something, you don't get a whole major package of software to do some little thing. You buy a plugin. I mean, that's been for the iPhone. I don't know how many of you use or have, been involved with seeing other people use the iPhone. But the single biggest success of the iPhone has been these little applets that people get to let the iPhone do interesting things, right? And so what we're trying to do is build these little applets or plugins for other kinds of software, including other kinds of devices and software, including the iPhone. So these things are easily and readily accessible and easy to build because of the open source software that's out there. Anyone else have questions, comments? You can tell that we've taught our Claremont people well. They know how to.
Actually, I expect one